Xbox have decided to make our Sunday a little bit better today, as they've decided to drop quite a lovely sale with a ton of games that are rarely ever discounted. These are some cracking deals, and I probably need to apologise in advance for increasing your ever so large backlog. Remember though, I do give away a free Xbox game every single Wednesday, so make sure to comment below to enter and tune in this week to see if you want it. With that though, let's just dive right into the deals you can grab for this week. First up, we have probably got one of my favourite indie games of this current generation of consoles, and it just has to be Planet of Lana. This one really feels like stepping into a hand-painted storybook, and it really is the kind where every frame could hang in a gallery. You play as Lana, a young girl just searching for an abducted village across lush hills, dusk forests, and alien deserts. It's also very cinematic at practically every moment, and there's a lovely amount of companionship as well thanks to your adorable creature friend named Yui. The puzzles aren't difficult by any means, just thoughtful, and it really lets the atmosphere just carry the overall experience, and there is a reason why so many love this indie, including myself. For just £4.24, it really is a steal for something this visually striking, and if you like games like Inside or even Ori and the Blind Forest, then this is the same kind of tender magic, and it's totally worth it. SIFU really carries a very unique gameplay mechanic into the fighting genre, and it can be really easy or as hard to master as you want it to be. As I did mention, this is a fighter, but it's focused on martial arts where every fight is a lesson, every mistake can be a bruise, and every victory is so well earned. You basically age with every single death, and although that would mean the end of the road within many games out there, this game actually leans heavily into it becoming a sort of learning experience. This means you can carry more experience, gain new combos and abilities upon death, and so much more. Honestly, when you finally clear a level flawlessly, it feels incredible. Every environment also becomes your dojo, so that means stuff like clubs, alleys, museums, and just anything else you can think of sort of within that martial arts scene. At £8.37, it is one of the best action games you can buy on Xbox to this day. I have mentioned it before here in these videos, but I highly recommend picking up and stepping into the shoes of a late night radio DJ in Killer Frequency. This is a game that actually blends retro vibes with very tense horror-tinged decision making. You're not just spinning records either, you'll actually be guiding callers through terrifying situations while making choices that determine who lives and who doesn't. The game really thrives on that atmosphere though, so stuff like neon-soaked visuals, a synth-heavy soundtrack, and dialogue dripping with tension. The clever mix of puzzles and branching conversations keeps you engaged, and each run can play out very differently depending on your different choices. At £4.20, this is the best price that we've actually seen so far, and with its unique narrative, it's incredibly worth it for that low price point. This next indie is probably one that you've never heard of before. Laika Age Through Blood is a Motorvania. This basically means it's a 2D action game where your motorcycle is your lifeline, that being your weapon and your momentum. It's incredibly unique as it has you playing as a coyote warrior that's battling oppression across a dusty wasteland, and that's all with your motorbike of course. Combat is insane and really is kinetic ballet. You'll do stuff like flipping the bike midair to reload, deflecting bullets, and then landing shots while drifting. It looks utterly gorgeous as well, as you could probably see on screen now, with a lot of painterly landscapes with a sort of moody, melancholic tone underneath all of the chaos. At £5, it's a really refreshing original twist on that Metroidvania formula, and I don't think I've ever seen a game like this on Xbox, let alone any other platform. Viewfinder is really such an incredible puzzle game, and the way that this one goes through about guiding you from each level to level is just utter genius. Its core mechanic essentially lets you take photos and then place them into the world as physical explorable spaces, so stuff like a snapshot can become a bridge, a drawing may become a doorway, and a postcard becomes a full 3D room. The result here is just mind-bending in all the best ways, constantly surprising you with puzzles that feel playful yet incredibly groundbreaking. There's no pressure and no timers either, like many within the puzzle space, and instead it prefers to sort of let you loose with the creative aspect and the ultimate discovery that you'll stumble across. I was really surprised when I picked this one up when it came to Xbox, and I really don't regret it even at that full price point. For £10 this week, it's easily worth it, and I would say if you enjoy games that mess with your perception like Superliminal or even the Talos Principle, then Viewfinder really is a must play. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 really does sit as my Game of the Year contender alongside Clair Obscur, so when I did see it on discount this week alongside its free play day, I just had to recommend it just right away. This newest entry really doubles down on everything that made the first game so special, that being all of the grit, realism, and historical authenticity. You of course take control of Henry the Blacksmith, who is training, forging, and fighting your way through a massive reactive world where your decisions really do shape your path. This is really scripted in medieval folklore, and you can expect time period accuracy and gameplay that reflects that as well. The Gold Edition, which I'm actually highlighting, includes all of the DLC, and we're actually due to get the final expansion this week, so it's just definitely worth grabbing. At £48, it's certainly not the cheapest today, but that is a massive discount so far for such a Game of the Year contender for 2025. I wanted to bring it to your attention, and if you're someone who's also wanted to take advantage of the Xbox Game Pass price hike and lock in a low cost as soon as possible, then do use my link in the comments below. This isn't a sponsored video at all, but I basically partnered with Loaded, formerly known as CD Keys, and you can currently get 12 months of Ultimate for about £120 here in the UK, or I believe around $200 in the US, which is a staggeringly low price point. Of course, it does also help the channel, as I do get a very small kickback. I also wanted to give a very quick shout out in the middle of this as well to our channel members, and if you want stuff like exclusive perks, discounts, videos early, and so much more, then click that join button down below. Now with that, let's dive back into the remaining games on sale for this week. If you're looking for pure chaotic co-op madness, that's Genetic Disaster in a real nutshell. This is essentially a top-down roguelike that throws you and up to 3 friends into a cartoonishly unstable world where everything can explode, mutate, or fight you back. Characters contort though into sort of weird power forms, and weapons behave like they're built by lunatics, and the rooms themselves do seem to be determined to sabotage you at every moment. It's really fast, silly, and it's just so unpredictable, and it really is designed for so much laughs as much as skill. No 2 runs will ever feel alike as well, and half the fun really is just watching your team in panic when the game really does to throw something ridiculous your way. For just under £2, it's practically a crime not to grab it, especially as it's way less than the price of coffee these days, and if you need a loud, joyful friendship testing chaos session, then this is one of the cheapest on Xbox to this day. Echoes of the End is a game that unfortunately many people either never heard of or just negated it, and that's a shame because it's so bloody good. This one actually leans fully into the cinematic storytelling with loads of sweeping camera shots, rich character drama, and a world that's dripping with political intrigue. You basically play as a warrior named Rin, who's gifted with the power to manipulate matter, and the enhanced version basically updates everything from visuals to performance and so much more. The tone is a lot darker and way more mature than those fantasy titles that you kind of expect within this scene, and it leans more on moral dilemmas as well, alongside broken alliances rather than the typical heroic cliches. The combat is also very reminiscent to me of games like God of War, and I have to say it's a kind of high bar for me, especially that they almost managed to clear. At just under £20 is a strong pick for this week, and the fact that it's still a first outing by a small Icelandic indie team is just utterly incredible. Do make sure to check out my review here on the channel down below if you are interested in hearing more about this one. I mentioned King of Meat in the last week's sales video, and I just had to include it again because the price is so bloody excellent, especially for a game that only arrived onto Xbox as of a couple of weeks ago. This game though really thrives on its absurdity, as it's basically a TV show. With that, you can expect chunky, grotesque enemies, splashes of exaggerated gore, and combat feels like a cross of Castle Crashers and Big Helmet Heroes. It's fast, it's crude, and it never pretends to be anything else. The action is also very slapstick as well, and the ability just to jump with your friends into all of the madness is where it truly does shine. It's not a long game by any means, but for just under £6, it's well worth adding to your Xbox library. It's not discounted because it's a bad game, it's actually discounted due to the Amazon game layoff, and it just sucks to see such a good game getting neglected. We all know about Clair Obscur Expedition 33 these days, and it has such an incredible blend of fast-paced turn-based combat with some striking visual storytelling. For me, this is easily my game of the year, and I bloody love my time with it. You can check out my review down below, by the way, and I know so many of you feel the exact same way about this one. It is still standing as the highest user-rated game ever, and that's a very good reason, as the story will leave you utterly speechless. I think it's well worth mentioning Clair Obscur in the sale, and that's because it's the best discount we've actually had so far, and I'm not sure we're going to see it going any lower for 2025. Remember, you do get one of the best RPGs ever with the small £33 price tag, and I bet this will be one of your favourite games ever upon your completion. If you enjoy story-driven RPGs with real-time elements, then pick this one up as soon as possible. Minimalist, clean, and razor fast, Swordship flips the script on traditional shooter games. You basically pilot a sleek ship with no weapons, and you're forced to survive by using enemy fire against them. That means dodging, weaving, drifting, and it's all about finesse and quick reactions. The satisfaction though comes from threading impossible gaps and watching opponents just accidentally destroy each other. His neon soaked visuals also make everyone really stylish, while the score system really rewards flawless risk taking. For just under £2, it's shockingly polished for such a small indie, and it's perfect especially if you love sort of arcade games with a lot of precision, but want something outside of that usual sort of bullet hell formula. It's one of my favourite little indie games that did arrive within the past couple of years, and I highly recommend you pick it up as soon as possible. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn was a very mixed game upon its release, but for me, I actually quite enjoyed it for what it really was. This one throws you straight into a world where black powder firearms meet ancient gods, and the result is actually wonderfully chaotic. You play as a warrior named Nor, who's basically an elite fighter who's teaming up with a mystical fox-like companion, and he brings all sorts of acrobatics and magic to every single encounter. The combat really is all about momentum though, so chaining stuff like melee strikes and well-timed dodges, and for me it was very reminiscent of Souls-like games, but with not that stupid difficulty elements. Exploration is equally satisfying though, but I will say the story is pretty average overall, so that won't be the reason why you should pick up this game. At £8.37, with about 75% off, it becomes a wildly good price point, and if you want to check out my review before you buy, then click the link down below. I know I mentioned Loaded a little bit earlier on with regards to Xbox Game Pass, but one game that I did come across which was on sale over on their website for a ridiculously good price tag was the Ultimate Edition of Red Dead Redemption 2. This version really does give you the full cinematic package, that including an expanded story content, bonuses, and a deeper dive into Arthur Morgan's beautifully tragic story. The level of detail in this game still is insane, and I still don't know how Rockstar really managed to sort of flesh out every single town, the conversations, and so much more. The story in this one hits hard. It is a little slow to begin with, but I highly recommend you stick with it, as it's one that will stick with you for all time. This week though on Loaded, they're actually pricing it down to about £19, which is frankly an outrageous deal, as this exact version usually only goes down to about £24 on the official Xbox store. If you do want to take advantage of this price tag, do make sure to click that link in the description down below. Whilst down there though, do make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more Xbox content on a daily basis. If you do want to check out some other awesome Xbox videos, why don't you check out the video on screen now? I recently covered all of the Xbox and Game Pass games coming out this week, and to see if any of them are actually worth your time and or money.